Today we're doing another reading vlog. I'm reading 5 books for this video, but basically the idea for this video comes from like 2 reading vlogs technically that I did back in 2021, because in that year I had a lot of new releases on my physical TBR that I just wasn't picking up, and I wanted to do something to motivate me to read them. I did a video halfway through the year and at the end of the year where I basically put all the names of my 2021 releases that I owned like on a piece of paper, and like I crumbled them up, shuffled them, and I like picked randomly which 3 I would read for that video. And this year I also had a couple of 2023 releases that I hadn't gotten to that I wanted to get to so badly, but I only had 5, so I thought doing like the random name selection would be weird, and therefore we're reading all 5 in this video today. I have 5 books that I'll be reading. Now, to be fair, I'm filming this intro once I've already finished all the books, so I'm also going to give you the order in which I read them in. So I started this video with Cane of Pride by Anna Huang, which is the sequel to Cane of Wrath. This one we follow a different couple though. Then after that I read Love Theoretically by Hazelwood, which again, a new romance release. And then I read The Iron Vow by Kagawa, which actually, fun fact, the first book in this trilogy I read in my first reading new releases reading vlog, so you can go check it out for that. But this is the 3rd and final book in the Iron Fae Evenfall trilogy, which is the 3rd series within this world, and also probably most likely the last series within this world. And then next I read Happy Place by Emily Henry, which I've loved every Emily Henry adult romance that I've read before. And then the last book that I read for the video is The Stolen Heir by Holly Black, which is a spin-off novel from the Cruel Prince trilogy. And yeah, those are the 5 books that I'm reading in this video. I was originally planning on doing like a romance, fantasy, romance, but it was romance, fantasy, so it isn't as nicely broken up as I originally intended, but like life goes a different way sometimes. These are 5 new releases I was super hyped for, but I didn't get around to before now, so let's read them together, shall we? Hi, so first book of the vlog is gonna be Cane of Pride by Anna Huang. Actually, I'm already like 94 pages into this, but I didn't get around to starting this vlog earlier, so I'm sorry. But this is the first book I'll be reading. Let me read you the back to you so you know what it's about. Reserved, controlled, and proper to a fault, Kai Yun has neither the time nor inclination for chaos, and Isabella with her purple hair and inappropriate jokes is chaos personified. With a crucial CEO vote looming and a media empire at stake, the billionaire heir can't afford the distraction she brings. Isabella is everything he should have wanted, but with every look and every touch, he's tempted to break all his rules and claim her as his own. Bold, impulsive, and full of life, Isabella Valencia has never met a party she doesn't like, or a man she couldn't charm, except for Kai Yun. It shouldn't matter, he's not her type. The man translates classics into Latin for fun, and his membership at the exclusive club where she bartends means he's strictly off limits. But she can't deny that beneath his cool exterior is a man who could make her melt with just a touch. No matter how hard they try, they can't resist giving into their forbidden desires, even if it costs them everything. So yeah, like I said, I'm already 94 pages into it. I'm also annotating this, and I already have several tabs, so you can say I'm enjoying this. Hi, so I finished Cane of Pride, so I thought I'd talk to you about it. Let's first talk about the tabs. Look at it. Like, I know I don't do a static tabbing like most people do, but I still think like it looks really cool. Yeah, by the amount of tabs, you can probably guess this was a 5-star. I loved it so much. Like, for somehow it managed to exceed my expectations, because Kind of Wrath was one of my favorite books of last year, so absolutely loved that. And the little glimpses of Kai and Isabella we got in that book, I absolutely adored. So I was so excited for this book, and yet this managed to absolutely shock me with how much I ended up loving this. Oh my god, this was so good. I just love Kai and Isabella as separate characters and their personal journeys they went on throughout this book was very interesting, and I loved the support that they had for each other. I also just loved the relationship and how it was developed throughout this book, they act upon their attraction like relatively quickly, but I didn't mind that because I feel like it kind of gives us an opportunity to see them together more, like as a couple, but like not really, because they haven't like confronted their feelings yet, you know. And I really like just their development throughout this entire book. I also thought the book was really funny. Like, if you can see the tabs, there's a lot of orange is funny moments. This was amazing, 5 stars easily. I have already started the next book though. So I have started Love Theoretically by Hazelwood. I originally was going to read one of the 2 fantasies to like switch things up, but yesterday ended up kind of sucking, so I needed something fun and I was very much in the romance mood right after finishing King of Pride. So I picked up Love Theoretically and I'm 106 pages in. I'm also annotating this one. I have only 3 tabs so far, but I feel like we're still like in the setting up stages of this book. But let me read you the back, which is actually quite a lot. I am sad that it's decided to do this. The many lives of theoretical physicist Elsie Hanaway have finally caught up with her. By day, she's an adjunct professor toiling away at gradient labs and teaching thermodynamics in the hopes of landing tenure. By other day, Elsie makes up for a non-existent paycheck by offering her services as a fake girlfriend, tapping into her expertly honed people-pleasing skills to embody whichever version of herself the client needs. Honestly, it's a pretty sweet gig until a carefully constructed Elsie verse comes crashing down, because Jack Smith, the annoyingly attractive and arrogant older brother of her favorite client, turns out to be the cold-hearted experimental physicist who ruined her mentor's career and undermined the reputation of theorists everywhere. And he's the same Jack Smith who rules over the physics department at MIT, standing right between Elsie and her dream job. Elsie is prepared for an all-out war of scholarly sabotage, with those lawn-penetrating looks not having to be anything other than a true self when she's with him, will falling into an experimentalist orbit finally tempt her to put her most guarded theories on love into practice. I'm again really enjoying this. Like I said, I'm only kind of like 100 pages in the setup stages, so I don't know a lot yet, but I'm enjoying it. Hi, so I finished Love Theoretically by Hazelwood. Look at the tabs. Do you think you have an idea of how I rated this? 5 stars, of course, 5 stars. Nobody expected anything else from this book. I didn't. And honestly, I just had so much fun reading this book. I really loved the dynamic between our 2 main characters, like our main characters and a love interest. It's a single POV, but Elsie and Jack just had a great dynamic together from the start. I just really liked their banter together. They just felt so natural when we were talking to each other, which was really nice. And I loved the way the romance was developed throughout this book. Oh, are you kidding me? Made me swoon. Besides that, I also just really liked Elsie's personal journey in this, because as the synopsis says, she's really good at kind of being the person the other person wants her to be, instead of like being herself around people. And throughout this book, she kind of has to unlearn that. And I really loved seeing that journey throughout this book. And then those moments where she like finally stands up for herself, it's just, they feel so cathartic because you've been with her this entire journey, and it's so well done. I don't know yet what I'm gonna read next. I think I'm gonna read one of the 2 fantasy books that I have, so the Stolen Heir or the Iron Vow, but I'm not sure yet which one, but you'll see. It's time to read the next book, which is The Iron Vow by Kagawa. This is the last book in the Iron Fae Evenfall series. I've not started yet, but I'm going to as soon as I stop recording this clip. But this, like I said, is the last book in the Iron Fae Evenfall series, which is the 3rd book in the the 3rd series in the Iron Fae world. So I cannot give you a synopsis for this. Just know Fae are involved and a lot of shit has went down before this one. But I am very excited to read this, but I'm also sad because as far as I know, this is the last book in the Iron Fae world. Like, Judo Kagawa, to my knowledge, has not announced that there will be anything more in this world. And like, I mean, the first series is 4 books, the second 3, and then this is again 3. So that's like a lot of books to read. That's 10 books. Is that 10 books? Did I count that correctly? Yes, that's 10 books. I've been involved in this world for quite some time, and I'm sad that it's gonna be over. Hi, so I have finished The Iron Vow by Kagawa, which was a journey, and I don't know how to talk about this book without like any spoilers for anything. So yeah, just know that this was a 3-star read. Like, for the first half of this book, I was struggling with it a little, especially the first 100 pages. those were like such a slog to get through. But then a little over the 100-page mark, like a reveal happens, and that meant like ah, and then I just wanted to keep reading, and I got a bit hooked. But I do think the second half of this book is much more action packed than the first one. We mainly spend a lot of time like traveling in this book, and even though I think this aspect of the world that we're traveling to is very interesting, I feel like we don't spend enough time in certain locations to fully comprehend everything. Like not necessarily comprehend everything, but to show the very interesting facets of this world. We saw like very small bits of it. I'm explaining this terribly because I don't want to spoil anything to you. And then a little bit, like the last 100 pages, a little bit more, was chef's kiss. So good. I think it first wrapped up this series very well, and afterwards I think it did a great job at wrapping up this world, kind of, because I believe this is the last book Kagawa is planning on publishing for this world. It's officially the end, I think. Might in the future things change, but as far as I know, this is like officially the end now. And I think it did a great job kind of like bringing everybody in and bringing in the different teams of the different series in a way that felt like natural and beautiful. And I even teared up a little just because I thought this was just the perfect conclusion to this world, this series. Hi, I'm here to update that I started Happy Place by Emily Henry. I'm only like 100 pages in right now. This isn't a lot, but I'm really enjoying it so far. I was kind of put off from reading this since it was released because this is a massive book, honestly. And then on top of that, I've heard some mixed things about this book, but like that's the thing with most Emily Henry books, but like this one and specifically. So therefore I've been putting it off, but I'm 100 pages in and I'm loving it so far. Like I'm feeling all the feels. So yeah, you know, 100 pages isn't a lot could change still, but I have good feelings about this. But let me first read you the back. Harriet and Wynne are the perfect couple. They go together like bread and butter, gin and tonic, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Every year they take a holiday from their lives to drink far too much wine with their favorite people in the world. Except this year they are lying through their teeth because Harriet and Wynne broke up 6 months ago and they still haven't told anyone. But the cottage is for sale, so this is the last time they'll all be there together. They can bear to break their best friend's heart, so they'll fake it for 1 more week. But how can you pretend to be in love and get away with it in front of the people who know you best? I am really loving this. Like I love Second Chance, but like I do think it's like a hard trope to pull up. But I think so far this book is kind of like not necessarily like doing a great job because we're still like we're not in the phases of them getting back together already, but like you can feel that there's like a lot of emotions between them, and we all getting like flashbacks to when they first got together as well. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this. Hi, welcome to late night update because I finished Happy Place by Emily Henry like a day's time. Remember in like my first update for this book, I told you that I'd been intimidated by this because of its behemoth size. I read it in a day's time. I was gonna say in one sitting, but that's not true. It was in 2 sittings, but still. And yeah, this is a 5-star. I don't know, I expected anything else from this book, but somehow it still took me by surprise. I loved it so much. I don't know if it's my favorite Emily Henry, I don't think so, but I did really like it. I think, like I said, I love Second Chance, but it's something that's hard to pull off in my opinion. But I think Emily Henry pulled it off in such an amazing way. Oh my god, I was emotional throughout so much of this because she just knew how to build the emotion between these 2 characters really well. And I feel like even though we only get Harriet's perspective in this book, I also completely understand throughout the entire thing where Wynne was coming from as well. And on top of that, this is also a beautiful book about friendship as well, and the journey with their friends was also something that had me going. And also just like Harriet's like personal discovery journey throughout this book was also so beautiful, and I just loved every element of it. Okay, so I just finished The Stolen Heir by Holly Black, and I don't know what to tell you, but I think I read a different book than everyone else. Yeah, that sounds mean. But first, a quick introduction. This book is the first in a duology, I believe. That is a spin-off series of the Folk of the Air trilogy by Holly Black, which is extremely popular, extremely good. I fell in love with it earlier the year. And then this one follows different characters that I can't tell you much about because it would spoil that trilogy. And it's an adventure, except this was not good. I'm so sorry. I feel like I read a book different than other people because even though I had heard many reviews say that this wasn't as good as the Folk of the Air, I still really enjoyed it. And even now finishing it, I read some reviews on Goodreads, both positive and negative, and I still have a feeling that I read a different book. I don't know why. I think like the main thing that I have is there were so many people on Goodreads saying that they absolutely loved our main character in this book, which I don't understand because there was no personality to this character. Like, she was so passive throughout this entire story besides the ending, which was so stupid. Like, none of the like strategical decisions she made sense. They were all really stupid. And she was a red rag for most of this book. She did nothing except complain about things that weren't even there. There were just theories in her head that she assumed to be true. And then I can tell you that this also follows Oak. We don't get his perspective, which I think is a shame, because I think this book would have been much more interesting if it either was told entirely through Oak's perspective or if we got dual POV, because I feel also Oak just was a nothing character in this book, but that's because he has a lot going on in his head that he can't talk about to the main character because it would ruin plans. So I think it would be much more interesting to have also perspective from him so we can understand what he is doing, what his big game plan is. And on top of that, I thought the plot was just boring. I do think this is going in an interesting direction, and I don't hate it, but like for most of this book, nothing happens. And like I said, the ending is just plain old stupid. Nothing about it makes sense. So that is everything I read for this video. We have a 5, a 5, a 3, a 5, and a 2. So I still think this is a success because even if the Iron Fire was a 3, it still was a very like good book and like is a world concluded in that way, and I still like have love for it even if it was a bit boring. The Stolen Heir is the only book from this list that I actively disliked, so I would say this was a success, which thank God, because for my most anticipated books of the year, I needed this to be a success. And yeah, let me know in the comments if you read any of these books, what you thought of them, as well as some of your favorite releases from this year, and maybe I'll see you at the end of the year with another video like this. I don't know yet, I can predict the future, so yeah. Here I am again, the same old situation. What does the